We used to fight the same weight, man.
Oh, as you?
Yeah, we
so
fought
what are you
at
weighing
170.
now, Neil?
We fought 170. We fought at 170, both of us.
What are you weighing now, Neil?
110.
110
Kilograms.
kilos.
Yeah,
exactly.
man. What's that? That's like 142. It's
No,
242, 240.
Yeah, 242, something like that. So you guys aren't on the same diet plan, I'm assuming.
No. He's bulking.
We're talking about Dricus' brother off screen, Neil. They used to fight together. Dricus, thank you very much for taking the time, my brother. So you have two older brothers. I had two older brothers. They would beat the crap out of me when I was a kid, as well as my dad, as well as a lot of other people. It's kind of made me the man I am today.
100%. I mean, that's I always tell people, listen, the fights in the cage are definitely not the hardest ones I've had.
Exactly. No. But you've had a lot of fights in the cage. I mean, was it 19-2?
Yes, 19-2.
That's an incredible record, man.
Oh, thank you
It
so
really
much.
is, you know, because I'm sure, obviously this is a big fight this week. Robert Whittaker's a tough test for anyone, I'm sure you'll agree. And I'm sure you've seen some people saying, Dricus is outmatched in this.
Yes.
Right? And I've said that as well. You know, I'll just be honest. I'm not trying to be insulting. I've got tremendous respect. But because I have respect, I can't say that I didn't predict Robert to win. But that doesn't mean he's going to win, because he's experienced, he's been a champion, you know, but you've got something there. You're 19-2. You're 5-0 in the UFC. You're beating tremendous people, and I think you have the intangibles that you can't teach. Heart, will. Obviously, you're very skilled as well, but there's something special there. Do you know what I mean?
Hundreds.
What do you say to anyone that's counting you out?
Yeah, I mean, some people would go, "Oh, it's a fight. Anything can happen." I hate that. You know, I'm not in here to win by a lucky shot. I'm not
Of course.
in here. You know, if I get out-skilled in there, I'll rely on my heart. If my skill gets it done, even better. But you know, anybody who counts me out everybody who has counted me out in the past, it was at their own demise. Every opponent and everybody who said Derek Brunson, he's the hype killer of the hype trains. Boom, you know, Darren Till, you would just say, listen, this is step up in competition. Didn't work, and as soon as you beat those guys, it's a washed up Darren Till. It's an old Darren Till. Darren Till is 1 year older than me, so. You know,
Darren's a great fighter. Darren's a great
an
fighter.
amazing fighter.
Yeah.
And, you know, with Derek Brunson, you can say what you will. Everybody's like, yeah, it's a washed up Brunson. How can you say that if the only fight he's lost was Jared Cannonier, who is absolutely amazing, and myself.
Yep.
And
fought for the belt next.
Exactly. So, you know, you can't listen to that stuff. And, you know, odds don't win fights. You know, you fought Luke Rockhold on short notice.
I was a 10-1 underdog.
Exactly. So, you know, just at the top of my head to reference that was a first round knockout, not a lucky punch, not a, you know, you saw after that fight how you guys prepped for that because his hands are hanging, boom, get that left hook in. Perfect. So, you know, it's a fight at the end of the day, styles make fights.
And that's kind of what I'm talking about, you know what I mean? Because people have said that about me, you know. So, as I say, it wasn't being insulting at all. When you look at Robert, you know, he's a great wrestler. He's got great
striking. Go against the guy who's never lost in 10 years against nobody else in the gym.
Exactly. You know, talking about that Brunson fight, I was watching it this morning. And when I watched it back, it was different from what I remembered live.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I'm like, hold on a minute. Yeah, he took you down in the first round because he's a strong wrestler, but you work back to your feet, and then essentially in the second round, you beat him up pretty good.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? And there were heavy shots.
A big part of that fight was not to get taken down, obviously, because, you know, with his wrestling being good. And he shot 2 more times after the first round.
That's right.
To try and get, and he couldn't take me down, but I did a kick and he caught my leg.
Yep.
And that's how he got that takedown. So I remember I was like, oh shit, this is one thing we didn't really want. I didn't want to go down, but it worked from there, and I could feel I got up and got my own takedown on Derek Brunson, which is great, and finally got a double leg on him as well. But Derek Brunson, with him, even if you go look at the Whittaker fight and all of his fights, he comes in that first round and he wants to make it like it's. If you talk about an ugly fight, that's it. But you know, a lot of people with Brunson, how they would fight him is stay away from that pressure. And then in the second round, he does get tired. Yeah. And what I said is, we're going to have that first round. It's going to be one hell of a first round, exactly what it was. And in the second and third, I'm still going to be there. And yes, I was tired. I mean, if you look at the pace of that fight, it was insane. It was power, it was wrestling, it was really an intense fight. In the second round, I just kept on the gas. And I knew that's what I said before the fight. It's going to be very competitive in that first round, but second and third, I'm still going to be there. And that's how I played out. So, you know, in that fight, you know, a lot of people would say, yeah, you gassed. Yeah, sure. that fight. Like fight a strong guy like Brunson, holding on to you
and you're swinging heavy
and
shots.
throwing those shots, getting those bang.
All you got to do is hit a bag. Tip, tap, tap, you can go all day. You swing heavy shots, you're going to get tired.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And fighting a guy like Whittaker, you can't go. You have to be more. You have to be smarter when you fight a guy like Whittaker because he's smart. So he's a very smart fighter. If you're just going to go out there and try and steamroll him, it's not going to work. He's too smart and too experienced for that.
Yeah. So what is the strategy? I mean, without giving too much away, I mean, is it just a case of, obviously it's a fight and just may the best man win type thing and go out there and fight with your skills and things like that? Or is there openings that you've seen and things that maybe you can expose?
The openings are 100% there. I mean, I fought Darren Till and I finished Darren Till. I took Darren Till down 6 times out of 6 times. Whittaker and Darren Till did a 5-rounder.
And it was a close fight.
It was a close fight. He dropped Whittaker in the first round, rocked him after that a few times. Whittaker struggled. He got him down once or twice in 7 attempts, I think. But immediately Darren got back up. So, that's all stuff, yes, Robert Whittaker is brilliant, but that's all stuff that I look at. And I say, if I could take Darren Till down 6 times and Whittaker couldn't, that means I know how to do it.
It says something, doesn't it?
That it actually says something. If Darren Till landed some shots on me, quite a lot, especially in that second round, and I wasn't even close to being dropped, but he put Whittaker on his ass, that says something. That says the man can be dropped. It says his takedowns can be stopped.
Yep.
And, it's kind of things that we look at, and, I know I trust him. Physically, I know I'm the bigger guy, and I have to make that use because I believe when it comes to the physicality, part of it, I'm superior in this fight. Yeah. Obviously, Whittaker has amazing speed. He has amazing timing, and he has a sort of energy around him that no contender can beat him.
Yeah, I understand that. That's right.
But one thing, and I've said this in a previous interview, the difference with me is Whittaker gets all these contenders, all these start directly after they fought the champion.
I see.
So
they're kind of deflated and they haven't got the same aspirations.
Absolutely, because now you lost the champion. That's interesting. So now you're fighting the next best guy. You're not going to get an immediate title shot if you beat him. So
you're not pushing yourself to that next level. You're not bringing in the best training partners. You're not spending as much money in camp to be the best version.
100%.
It's like, well, what's the point?
What's the point? I just lost to the champion anyway. I'm coming to UFC taking a big risk saying they could have made that Adesanya fight. They wanted to.
Yeah.
I wanted this Whittaker fight.
Yeah.
And now.
And I don't think too many people are calling to fight Robert Whittaker.
No, nobody's doing that. Nobody's doing that. And, for me, that is the way up. If I can't beat Robert Whittaker, then I don't deserve that title shot. And I don't want that title shot. And this fight, I'm on my way. This is my world title fight. Without this fight, I can't get that shot.
Sure.
So everything relies on this fight.
I mean, it is a big fight. It's T-Mobile. You've been there before a couple of times now, right?
Yeah, 4 times.
International Fight Week again. You know what I mean? This is a big, big stage, and everyone's talking about this fight. Yeah. Of course, there's 2 big title fights. This is a big one. We all know if you beat Robert, you get a title fight. Dana's confirmed that anyway. Are you feeling the pressure, or did you always see yourself being here when you started as a mixed martial artist back in the day? Was this always the goal?
Yes, this was always the goal. This was always the plan. But still, when you get there, you can visualize it. Still, when you get, you're like, holy shit, that's insane.
Yeah.
But, I'm really happy. And he's one of those guys that my brother always said it because big fans of Whittaker and his work. And, if you look at his fight as a fight fan, he's incredible. But and my brother always said, I know you're going to fight him one day. I know, you just knew it. And when the call came, I was like, cool, that's the fight. That's the fight we're making. I'm ready for that fight. I'm ready for that. And now that the fight is this big, it feels like exactly every other one because we are pioneering this for South African fighters, and everybody is watching, every single one. So when I was on the prelims, it was still broadcast today. Everybody was just as excited as this. Now the stakes are higher for, what happens after this. But for me, winning that first fight got me to this. So it's just as important. So
it's just a natural
the pressure is there, but I like it. I like the pressure. There's no more pressure in this fight than any other one.
And I'm assuming you're enjoying the whole process.
Loving it.
Yeah, because what a life, right?
Yeah, what a life, man. Living, this is my dream since I was a teenager, and here I am fighting for #1 contender spot.
It's unbelievable. It really is. It makes me jealous, makes me miss it. All right, let's assume you win the fight because you're going into there to win this. Israel Adesanya, there's been a bit of beef. There's been a bit of shit talk. There's maybe been some controversial statements on both sides. Give me your side of events.
Well, I mean, I don't see the controversy in mine. Just my postal code says South Africa, so I do live there.
No. You sound like a South African to me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
So you see, so I don't understand the controversy from both sides, but stuff was said and makes for a great fight. And like I said, he's faced everybody. This fight could have happened. This could have happened. And it's not a matter of if we said no, we're not going to fight Whittaker. We could have had this fight. I know that for a fact. He wanted this fight. I obviously wanted to fight, but I'm a martial artist and I'm a warrior. And when the Whittaker fight came as listen, are you interested in this? It wasn't even a minute discussion. It was, oh yeah, cool. When, just logistically wise, like when is the fight? Cool, I'm in, let's do it. Because at the end of the day, I'm a fighter and I fight. And whether Adesanya, whether I fight him now, whether I fight him later, whether I fight Whittaker before I win that belt or after I win that belt, to me it's all the same. I want to be the best in the world, not by taking this fight or ducking this fight or maybe say, that's a harder route. That's not how our legends and champions are made.
Yeah.
They are made by taking whatever comes and fighting. And that's what this fight is. This fight is the perfect metaphor for fight whoever they give you to be the best, take out the best. And with Adesanya,
this is talk about a progression to a title fight.
Absolutely.
You beat good guys. You beat Derek Brunson, Darren Till, Robert Whittaker. I mean, if that's not earning a title fight, I don't know what is.
Yeah, I don't know.
Do you know what I'm saying?
Yes, and that's ultimately what it was about for me, is fighting whoever gives me the title shot. And no, not saying no to this, maybe that one, because nobody else is there, so I'll get a title shot anyway.
Not being strategic.
Yeah, I don't want to do it that way. And it's a smarter way. I get it, but you will be exposed in this game if you take the smart
that's right.
route.
That's
because
right.
at the end of the day, you're going to fight the top guy, and some people, they are happy with to say, I fought for the title. I'm not happy to say I fought for
that's
the
it.
belt.
Nobody wants to fight for the title because then you lose. Good luck getting another shot. You want to be the champ, especially when you've done it your way, the long way round. When you look at Izzy, there's a lot of similarities to Anderson Silva back in the day.
Yes.
I always wanted to fight Anderson Silva. I felt I had a style to beat him. I looked at him and I thought, I can beat this guy. People thought I was crazy. People thought I was talking out of my ass and I had delusions of grandeur. Is it a similar thing with you when you've looked at Izzy throughout his career? You're like, I know I can beat this guy.
Yes, absolutely. I think I've watched Izzy, like I said, we've trained together way before he was in the UFC. And his striking is unbelievably good. Just like Anderson Silva, like you said, his striking is unbelievably good. That does not mean anything when there's a contrasting style. That does not mean anything when... So, he is an incredible fighter and he's very nearing the greatest of all time middleweight. But I know for a fact that if I get in there, it's going to be different than anybody's.
You're convincing me. I'm sitting there, I'm like, I believe it. I see the look in your eyes.
At the end of the day, everybody goes, oh, this guy fights so weird. This guy, it's, if... They immediately go to, this guy is shit, or this is not how you fight. That's not how you fight because they don't know how I fight. They don't understand it. They don't know that style. It's we come from different regions. If you look at how American-based style fights, Brazilians fight, Russians fight, there's a style. We have a South African style, a style that we developed ourselves, which nobody has ever seen.
How would you define the South African style?
I would say it's probably one of the most all-around styles. I think there's literally no part in this game that I prefer than the other. Like to keep it standing, to go to the ground. And the style that we are working for is to be as efficient as possible, taking the shots you're taking, you have to be able to give something back. And being in a position where if you land, it's hard. And put yourself in a position to be able to get a takedown in any situation. And be able to strike in the middle of a wrestling exchange. I think that is not doing wrestling, striking, and grappling, but doing MMA as a whole. And I think that is, and it's obviously a grinding style. If you look
100%. And it's a grinding place. South Africa's a tough place. I've had my experiences there. If you and Izzy, UFC South Africa, I mean, it's been talked about for a while, right? Because at one point we had the 3 African champions. I mean, would that be a dream come true? Wouldn't that just be incredible?
That would be the penultimate. That would be absolutely amazing. And I've always envisioned the UFC coming to Africa, coming to South Africa, and walking out in front of my home country. I think
it's an amazing place. It's a beautiful place.
Yes,
I loved my time down there. However, one night a guy pulled a gun out and put it to my head and tried to rob me and almost killed me, and I absolutely shit my pants. You must have had some fun times growing up there. Yeah. Anything you can share with us?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's funny enough because when I wasn't fighting, competing in amateur actual like kickboxing,
Yep.
I started competing at 15 years old. Up until the age of 16, like I would get into fights at school all the time.
Yeah.
And it's almost like as I got better in the sport and I learned the discipline of the sport, I stopped getting involved in fights. Not never, but I was in a whole lot less. I'm talking about like it wasn't, and that's a good message to send because I was one of those guys. Everybody knew. Listen, if it comes down to it, let's go. That's how we sort out anything. And but it's a great place because physical sports, like especially contact sports like rugby, people, we are so drawn to it, and it's such a big part of our culture that it's almost like where I come from is from grind, work hard. My dad and everybody of that generation is almost like if you don't work hard, then even if you're working hard, you can go harder, go harder. So it's in our culture, and that's why I think so many people back home are drawn to me fighting in the UFC and following me and getting amazing support because we are so drawn to this sport that now we have this guy doing what everybody loves. Of course. When it comes to sport and physicality and the purest form thereof. Yeah. UFC is as close.
Well, you're representing a whole country.
Absolutely. It's a massive privilege.
It's an amazing feeling as well. And it's a double whammy this weekend.
Yes.
You're fighting Robert Whittaker and South Africa versus Australia in rugby.
Yeah, in my hometown of Pretoria.
Oh, is it really? Yeah.
On Saturday afternoon, so that's going to be great. It's a great...
That'll happen first though, of course, right?
Yeah, that happens at 5 p.m. on Saturday in South Africa, and then I'll be fighting around like 5, 6 a.m.
Can you imagine the atmosphere? That's a big sporting day. In your hometown? My God. I mean, what a day. You go out, you watch your national team, hopefully they get a win, then you have a few drinks, you watch your boy go out there and beat Robert Whittaker. I mean, that sounds like a great sport.
A lot of wives and girlfriends are going to be angry on Sunday morning, I can tell you that.
And a lot of sore heads. Yeah. That's amazing. Listen, Dricus, thanks for talking to me, man. All the best. Love your career. Big fan.
Thank you so much, man.